stay ahead of the competition. Companies around the globe are digitally transforming all their processes, and marketing is no different. In today's episode, we are going to understand more about how the digitization of marketing is changing the relationship between consumers and brands, and how brands can deliver superior experiences to consumers that are more relevant and meaningful to them. And to share more insights, we have with us Rustam Dastoor, SVP, Head of Marketing and Communications for MasterCard. As a member of the Asia Pacific leadership team, Rustam leads marketing and communications across the region. He also helps deliver on MasterCard's commitment to being a force for good. This encompasses advancing on the company's stated ESG commitments in terms of its involvement in the Priceless Planet Coalition and in its efforts to create a diverse and inclusive company that enables everyone, everywhere to be a part of its story and journey. Welcome, Rustam. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Yasmin. Looking forward to doing this with you. Thanks for having me.
Looking forward as well. So, how are you feeling today and where are you joining us from?
Feeling wonderful. I'm joining you from sunny Singapore. This is my home office for the past couple of months and probably for the next few months. So, like a lot of us, I'm working from home, but looking
Yes.
forward to getting back into the office soon.
Yes, so are we. So thanks so much once again for joining us.
Pleasure.
Before I start the discussion, I would request our viewers to keep sharing their thoughts and questions in the comments section. I will take them up as and when they come on. And now, without further ado, let me start with my first question for you, Rustam. As we all know, the pandemic served as a watershed moment for the digital shift. For the last 24 months, businesses all over the globe are constantly working to deliver services to customers digitally. Why is there a need for businesses to focus and drive digital innovation in 2022, Rustam?
Sure. Look, Yasmin, we estimate that COVID added an additional $900 billion to the online retail economy globally just in 2020. So, put another way, in 2020, e commerce made up roughly $1 out of every $5 spent on retail. Now, this was up from about $1 for every $7 spent in 2019. So, a significant shift from brick and mortar to digital. We also expect that 20 to 30% of the COVID shift to digital is expected to stick around. What this means is that if digital innovation is not your priority as a business, you're missing out, not just now, but into the future as well. It's also vital for small businesses to become digital businesses if they are to survive. So, digital is no longer a competitive advantage, it is the price of admission. Think about it, your Kirana store at the corner of the street is now going to have to compete with the likes of Flipkart, Amazon, etc. This is new for them. So this is not just a business challenge, it's a societal challenge because small business is essential to any country's economy. And we have to make sure that small businesses have the ability to become digital businesses and stay in the game, if you will. So digital is no longer an option, it is a necessity.
I think I absolutely agree with you, Rustam. The past 24 months have been the biggest accelerator for digital transformation for organizations, be it large or
Indeed.
small businesses. And companies who cannot jump onto the bandwagon would be left behind. I think that's a short answer to this. So thank you for sharing that. So, Rustam, what, according to you, are some of the best practices organizations in the new world of work can leverage to accelerate digital transformation and offer priceless experiences to their customers?
Look, the first thing we have to recognize is that people go online not to see marketing or to buy products. They go online to have experiences that enrich their quality of life. Even if it's everyday things like buying groceries or buying food supplies or whatever it might be, the end goal is to have a better quality of life experience. It is not just to buy a product, buy a service, and they don't want to see marketing. So what we have to do is make sure that the experience is front and center, not the product. So when you go onto a digital platform where you get a superior experience, be it in Uber, be it in Amazon, be it in Airbnb, what's at the front of all of that is the experience that you have. The product is just an enabler. So the first thing I would suggest is that we always focus on experiences first, and the product becomes the enabler of that experience. The second is it is very critical to integrate product, data, UI, UX, marketing, all into a single superior digital experience. In the digital world, it is so seamless that when you have uh, the walls between these different functional areas showing, you struggle to build a superior experience. So tearing down those walls and having seamless integration between functions is very critical. And the third and final suggestion I would give is delivering trust and security in the online space. This is essential not just to winning business, but to retaining business and getting people to keep coming back. If your standards of trust and security are not of the highest level, you're going to find that at some point it's going to trip you up. And that's ultimately going to lead to a significant challenge for you in attracting audiences back to your digital platforms. So those are the three things I would suggest. Focus on experiences, integrate all your functions into a single powerful user experience, and keep trust and security front and center in everything you do.
Absolutely agree with you, Rustam. I think there's some key points there. Focusing on experiences is very, very important, I feel. And also creating a seamless experience for employees and for customers or whoever your stakeholders are. That's going to be the future for digital innovation as well. So thanks for sharing that. So, for businesses to become customer and more customer centric, it's imperative to focus on the customer journey, their expectations, to dictate a robust digital customer strategy. What experiences do you think, Rustam, make customers embrace a certain digital platform over another?
The biggest change in the customer journey online is that it is non-linear. There are so many different points of entry and exit into the customer journey that it is quite different from the traditional customer journeys that we've been used to. Social media today plays such a big role in driving people at the top of the funnel into a customer journey. Something you might see, a comment you might read, a share that you might receive that prompts you to do something from a customer journey standpoint that is not traditional or linear. It's not like you walked past a shop window or walked into a store or had a need. In the digital space, that entry point into the customer journey can be anywhere. So we really, as marketers, have to start thinking about non-linear customer journeys. So we've got to look at this across the ecosystem and say to ourselves, what are all the different touch points that our consumer is going to engage with in the digital journey? That could be in social media, that could be in merchant environments like the Flipkarts, etc., of the world, or the Paytm malls, etc. So you've got to start thinking about different entry points into the customer journey. Now, how we add value to them in those entry points and how we move them along the path to purchase is also going to be quite different than it is in the traditional model. It's very rare that you walk into a physical shop knowing you want to buy something and you walk out without buying anything. But in an online store, that is actually quite the norm. Cart abandonment is a frequent activity. So, how you take someone from the point of interest or the point of awareness all the way to where they fulfill that order online is extremely interesting and challenging. They may abandon the order, they may come back the next day, they may never come back. So, non-linear customer journeys are getting increasingly important, and having a way to unpack them and figure out how you deliver value at every stage, in my opinion, is critical to succeeding in the online space.
I think that's a very great point. Actually, I do agree that yes, it's very different from attending to customers in a physical space to an online space. The behavior, the user behavior is totally different, and the non-linear journey, as you said, the entry points are different. So, how do you engage with them and keep them, engaged with your platform specifically, will be the game changer for you. So, thanks so much for sharing that, Rustam. So, Rustam, let's talk about the Asia Pacific market now. It is an emerging giant of incredible possibilities. However, the more the customer base, the more opportunities and challenges to deliver a superior customer experience. So, how do you think can businesses with a vast customer base personalize the customer experience and deliver a true omni-channel experience to them?
Sure. When we think of omni-channel in the traditional space, we think of omni-channel as being media led. I remember in the old days when I used to do marketing, we used to think of omni-channel as in store, on television, etc. But today, omni-channel is not media led. Once again, it is experience led. And the way we look at it at MasterCard is that to have a superior experience that lives in different channels and lives in a omni-channel world, that experience has to come to life through three different layers. At the very base, the baseline layer is the infrastructure layer. That comprises of data, analytics, technology. You then have a second layer, which is the enablement layer, comprising of products and services. And then finally, you have what the consumer sees, which is the experience layer. And that is your brand, customer passions, assets, platforms, UX, design, etc. Now, these three layers need to work well with each other to succeed in any environment digitally that the customer experiences them. So that could be in social commerce, that could be in a store, that could be in any other form of digital engagement. But the idea of infrastructure, product enablement, and consumer experience all working together gives you that truly superior digital experience across channels. So once again, I re-emphasize that it's not omni-channel that is media-led, it is omni-channel that is experience-led, enabled by technology and product.
That's interesting. Thanks again for sharing that wisdom. I think we're talking about experience, we're talking about customer experience, and now we all know that employee experience has become equally important to customer experience, especially in the past 24 months and so. So the next question
Indeed.
that I have, yeah, exactly. So the next question that I have for you is, the pandemic induced culture of hybridity and virtual collaboration has accentuated the importance of employee digital experience. Businesses in the future of work are looking to stay ahead of the curve, not just from the customer experience point of view, but also from the employee experience front. So,
Yeah.
what plans, concrete plans, can organizations implement to prepare for a better digital employee experience?
Right. Look, the first thing I'm going to say is probably something very relatable to everyone on this panel, which is that burnout is a real challenge in the digital world. The biggest problem with stay at home is that the lines between home and work now are completely blurred. You know, we used to talk about work life balance, but when work and life are in the same space, that line is now completely blurred and in some ways even destroyed. So we've got to guard against employee burnout. This was happening before the pandemic as well, but it's also got accelerated just by the nature of the pandemic. Now, there are a few things that we've been doing to ensure that employees don't feel that sense of digital burnout. The first thing we do is that on Fridays, we try to avoid scheduling meetings unless they're absolutely essential. That doesn't mean you get the Friday off, you're still working, but you're not physically doing Zoom meetings and you're not physically engaging in the digital medium the way we would be 4 days of the week. We also try to give the occasional meeting free day somewhere along the month just to give people a little boost and not have them strapped to their computers. We encourage employees to turn off their cameras if the camera is becoming intrusive into their personal life. You know, I'm fortunate that I have this little room in which I spend the entire day. But if you've got kids in the background running around, if you've got a spouse in the background working as well, you might not want the intrusion into your personal space. So it's perfectly all right to turn your camera off and not feel the pressure to keep it on. We also want people to have breaks between meetings so they can get up and get out a bit, give their backs a rest, their eyes a rest, etc. So that's what we're doing to prevent burnout from one end. The other area is we've put a lot of investment into digital tools, collaboration tools. You know, when we were all in the office exchanging documents, having a quick chat, having a quick exchange was easy. But today we're depending on messenger platforms, co-collaboration platforms, etc. And those have to be seamless and work well with the nature of the work we do. So, for example, in my case, I see a lot of very heavy files that are video files or graphic files. To transport them over a home Wi-Fi connection is pretty difficult. So the company helps us by creating tools where it makes it easier for us to do such things. We also have increased our cybersecurity tools significantly because we want to make sure that there is no friction between security of our data and the work we're doing and the experience that our employees have in working. It isn't feasible to keep asking people for passwords and authentication and all kinds of workaround. It just slows down the work. It exhausts people. It makes people tired. So having modern tools that are cybersecurity led, that remove the friction out of passwords, etc., also helps a great deal. And finally, we recognize that people may never go back to work the way they once did. So we all want our employees to come back to the office at some point and in some meaningful manner, but it may never be the way it once was. So we've got to start now mentally preparing for this hybrid work model where some days we'll be in the office and some days we'll be at home. And we'll have to figure out what the office means to us now when we go back in, because it's not going to mean the same thing. I can do meetings from home, I can do work from home. Why am I then going in? It should be more about collaboration, getting to know people, building relationships, and having the kind of chemistry that digital does not provide.
Those are some great points. I absolutely agree with you, Rustam. I think the world of work has changed drastically in the past 24 months. As you said, the way we imagined what an office means now means something different.
Right.
Technology has played a great role in that. I mean, the whole transition to overnight working from home, I think, was really, really exceptional for most organizations. They really did it in a
Indeed.
very good way. Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah, and the whole point on yes, digital experience is very important. Technology, automation, collaboration tools are going to change the way we work. But yes, at the end of the day, drawing that line between personal and professional life, taking care of your employees, digital burnout or digital fatigue will also be very important as organizations prepare for the future of work. So thank you for sharing. There were some great points there.
Sure.
Rustam, as we all know it, digital technologies are transforming the world of work, and employees are an intrinsic part of this profound change. Businesses now need to adopt an employee first approach to thrive in the digital space. So, what are
Right.
some of the critical shifts in employee experience that can help businesses keep their workforce engaged, agile, and mentally connected? You did give us some examples, but could you just deep dive a little more into them?
Sure. Look, at the end of the day, as employees, we are part of a community that has a common culture, a common mission, and a common prosperity. We can't let digital disturb that. So we have to find ways to protect and grow those common interests, even while we are working individually from home. So one of the things we are experimenting with, and it's going quite well, we want to roll this out on a more exhaustive scale, is we're trying to find ways for employees to not just work together online, but also play together online. So what do I mean by that? One of the things that our India office has been doing that is super fun and interesting is we've partnered with Radio Mirchi to come in on Fridays, not every Friday, but one Friday of the month, and just do a Zoom session with our employees that is filled with variety entertainment, be it fun quizzes, entertaining performances, quirky interviews with our leadership. It really breaks the stress of being online only to do work. And it brings those coffee table conversations back, albeit in a digital world rather than a physical world. So what we're striving to do is make sure that when we think about Zoom meetings, it's not all work and all exhausting and all uh, just professionally based. A lot of it is also to get people back together to create some of that camaraderie that we used to have when we were all in the office together. So that's something I can recommend even to other companies is that don't look at Zoom and platforms like that only as a way to get people professionally together to talk about business. Use it as a way to get people together to even have some fun and blow off some steam.
I think that's really important in today's times when people don't get to meet each other face to face. Your social interactions have come down. You don't have those water cooler conversations anymore, no coffee
Right.
breaks, tea breaks. So I think
Correct.
bringing them together in a virtual environment and still keeping them engaged and connected to each other, I think that's key to employee experience in this digital space, I believe.
Indeed.
Indeed. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, those were some great answers. We had some so those were the long form questions for you, Rustam. It's now time for a quick, rapid fire session with you. I'll ask you a
Sure.
few quick rapid fire questions and let's see how you answer them then.
Right.
All right. Great then. So, the first question for you is two trends that will define digital customer experience.
Sure. Personalization and online security. I think personalization we're all very familiar with, especially with social media. We have our form of entertainment, the way we customize it. So social commerce will now lead to the same. and online security. You can't really survive in the digital space without online security.
Totally. Thank you. Thank you so much. Two technologies that enhance digital customer engagement.
So the first I would say is digital identity. I think digital identity is something whose time has come, and you're going to see a lot of digital identity tools come out in the future, even from Mastercard. And I think that's critical to empower the internet of the future. And the second is frictionless commerce, the ability to transact online without friction and make it a very smooth and seamless process.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next question. What will be the top priority for businesses in 2022? Would it be digital transformation or customer experience?
So always customer experience first. Digital transformation supports a better customer experience, but it's only a means to an end. Customer experience in whatever channel you're in, form factor you're in, past, present, future, nothing should trump customer experience.
Absolutely agree with you. Thanks for sharing that, Rustam. Two reasons why businesses must invest in digital customer experience.
The first is to meet your customers where they are. So if customers are going online and if customers are increasingly digital, smartphone, desktop, whatever it might be, you want to be there too. You want to meet your customers where they are. And the second is to level the playing field with the big boys. If you're a retailer, it doesn't matter how big you are online. It does the size of your shop, the size of your uh, staff doesn't matter in the online world. If you're a financial services company, it doesn't matter how many branches you have. If you're online and you can level the playing field with the big boys. So that's why I feel those two are very essential.
Great one. Great points there. Thank you. And finally, two trends that will affect employee experience in 2022.
So the first is health and well-being. I think all of us have to protect our mental health as much as we protect our professional lives and our futures. So health and well-being has to be a priority for everyone. And the second is remote engagement and how we manage it. I think remote engagement amongst employees is something that is now an aspect whose time has come and will probably stay for the future. So how we manage to stay connected while separated is going to be extremely essential.
Great. I think that's a great point. How do you stay connected while separated, and how do you focus on employee well-being, mental well-being, physical well-being? I think well-being has become the keyword in the past few
Indeed.
years. So, yeah. Thank you so much,
Indeed.
Rustam. That was a great conversation. So much to learn from you, so much to understand on how
Pleasure.
customer experience and digital experience are going to be the future when it comes to organizations and businesses reimagining themselves in this ever-changing world. So organizations who can take care and balance that out between customer experience and employee experience and have a digital, a digital core to all of this will be the ones who succeed. So thank you once again for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And I wish everyone on your audience all the best for the coming new year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I would like to inform our audience that Rustam will be joining us at the Economic Times Phoenix CXO Summit APAC on the 18th of January. So if you want to interact with him again, then visit the Phoenix APAC website and block your seat now. The registration link is in the chat section. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. We will come back to you next week again with another Transformation Talk story with Alex Badenoch, Group Executive, Transformation Communications and People, Telstra. Till then, stay safe and keep transforming. See you next week, everyone. Once again, thank you, Rustam. It was a great conversation. Take care and bye bye.